Welcome back. It's 8:50 a.m. in the morning, 16th of May 2025. The weekend is upon us. Hope you're good. Today we're going to be highlighting the topic empowering the vulnerable in Nigeria. Chika Uju is a veteran journalist and, of course, a humanitarian. She joined us via Zoom this morning. Good to have you. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Sorry for the whole thing.
All right. So, tell us who these vulnerable people are and why it's important to cater to them.
Vulnerable people are adults, that are very comfortable in their own skin or color. And they do not wear any mask. But unfortunately, they are being insulted by the weak who cannot even identify themselves.
Okay, so why you think it's important to cater to them?
Why I think it's important to cater for them is because they are human beings like you and I. They should be given sense of belonging. They should be accommodated because they are equally God's creature.
Okay, so from your standpoint, do you think that the government is doing enough in terms of catering to them, at least to the extent of providing the basics that they would need to at least fend for themselves?
Actually, to the best of my knowledge, the government is not doing enough to assist the vulnerable. They have not done anything much. They have been neglected, and it's not giving us joy. Myself in particular, as a woman and as a human being. So in other states, in other countries, they are being taken care of. But where you and I come from is a different ball game altogether. And it's not good.
Okay, so if you were, for instance, going to adopt what other countries do in Nigeria, to what extent do you think that can work? I mean, we've had several, programs before in Nigeria, poverty alleviation programs, right from even the military era or up until this moment. But we still have people who are still vulnerable, who don't have access to the basics of life. What do you think that we can adopt with what is happening across the world?
Actually, the government of the day tried to make them have that sense of belonging. But those representing them have not been able to do much. You will see them acquiring what belongs to those they are better off than. You will see them sharing it among themselves, their families. And it's wrong. So the only thing we can do is to create a committee and make sure that the vulnerable amongst them are co-opted in that committee for them to have a voice, for them to know what is being given to them, how it's being shared, how it's being allocated. I believe by doing so, it will enhance most of their problems.
Many people would say creating another committee. I mean, isn't that what has caused the problem so far? I mean, if we have had several poverty alleviation up until now, in fact, we still have the number of
Because,
unemployed people. We
because
still have people
the
who.
right
Okay, go ahead,
sorry,
please.
the right people have not been co-opted into the committee. We still have wolves under the sheep clothes. The right people. When you put the right people around, step in a round hole, you will see things working out. We still have people who do not have human feelings in managing the affairs of the vulnerable, even managing the affairs of, the society. They should dig deep and get to the root of all this. They know it. When you're talking about the vulnerable, we are talking about those who cannot be able, who do not have the powers of their own, the adult, the low income, the disabled. But you see somebody, a flat, human being, coming, bearing that, all in the name, to have what belongs to the lower class. Who does that? It's only people that with that conscience that, go into that such practice, and it's not helping the society. Neither is it helping the vulnerable people, our adults in our midst.
What role do you think education plays in alleviating poverty and even helping with the vulnerable population?
Education is the key. Those of them who wants to be enlightened, who wants to be educated, who wants to attend, tertiary institution, secondary institution, primary institution, should be given that opportunity to do so, should be empowered to do so. And by the time they're able to acquire it, they will be on their feet to take any challenges that comes across them. So if governments can invest more in their education, it will enhance their life. In my own thinking.
So many persons think that the most vulnerable people in the society are mostly women and children. Do you agree to this point? Do you think there are actually there are other people who are considered vulnerable people?
There are others, men inclusive, not only women and children. But you can only say that women and children are the weaker, side of it. And, they receive all manner of abuse.
Right. So
when not checked.
So in terms of helping out with these, knowing that the numbers are actually more on women and children, how do you think that collaborative effort between the private sector and the public sector will be able to assist people, especially those in the rural areas, in order to be able to be better for whatever it is that they're out to do?
They should be allocated to a good environment where they can be looked after, where can they be checked on regularly. The communities, the private sector, the government, it's our duty to do that for them because they don't have that strength, just like we do. When somebody is about to rape you or having carnal knowledge with you or something like that, you can always be able to run away. But then they cannot. When somebody wants to hit you with a machete, you can be able to run away, but they cannot. So it is our duty to checkmate them, to be by their side, check them hourly. Even if it means every second, they need that attention from us.
For you, what are the most important strategies in empowering women, especially in the rural areas?
Come again, please.
What for you is the most strategy or the best strategy in empowering women? Say, for instance, if government decides that they want to empower women in rural areas, what do you think that they should be looking at? How do you think they can go about it?
Skill acquisition. Skill acquisition.
What
It will
type of
help
skill?
them. Depending on what they can be able to do. If it means, tailoring, which they call fashion and designing now, or having, a hairdressing salon, or weaving, depending on what they want, even trading, they can be empowered in a small scale aspect of it. It's not only the government, it will do it. Individuals can, private sectors can, because it's a collective exercise, and we don't need to allow the government to do it alone. But government should have upper hand. And the moment such is being done, you will see them having more lives. You know, we are putting smiles into their lives. And those that have bad intentions of terminating their lives, you see them coming back to fold, interacting with us.
Right. Interesting, really. I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, what do you think might be the barriers or obstacles that the vulnerable people might be facing in assessing some of these skill acquisition programs, this know-how? Do you think that they may probably have barriers or obstacle in it?
Yeah, there will be an obstacle if they are not well checkmated. There will be an obstacle. So whatever they are being given to, there must be people to monitor them, to monitor their exercises, to monitor their living, to monitor whatever they do. Like I said earlier on, they are the weaker, creature due to the kind of a situation they find themselves. So they
Right.
need to be monitored.
We know of several NGOs that are involved in helping vulnerable people. I mean, we could say that the government really hasn't adequately done well, but do you think that the actions of some of these NGOs are also helping, and to what extent? Because some of these NGOs also receive a lot of, you know, support from international donor agencies. And sometimes these agencies don't really cascade these resources down to the vulnerable people. So I'm wondering, do you think that the role of the NGO right now, it's helping matter at all?
They are not. Some of them are just using the vulnerable to enrich themselves. We all know that. I know that, you do. And they don't have conscience. That's why they are doing that. And they forget that it's a judgment day at the end of the day. So most of the NGOs we have, some of them, they don't even care. All they want is that money. Maybe they will just give out peanuts to those people. Then the rest, you see them building mansions, riding beautiful cars, wearing gold and silver, living the downtrodden. It's not good. They are not doing well.
So how do you think that these NGOs can be checkmated?
That is the thing. And when I talk about, creating a committee or having this, you see that the one that have already been created, what did they do? If I were the donors, I would like to send my team, delegate some of my team to go and see what this person is actually doing with whatever we donated to enhance the life of the downtrodden, of the vulnerable. But the moment the money is being given, they won't care, they won't bother to monitor it. They need to be monitored. I have one. I need to be monitored. You can't report to pay Peter. No one with good conscience does that. We lack fear of God. Honestly, that is our problem. We lack fear of God. But we bear this and that night, day. But we keep on cheating on those who are better off than. It doesn't give me joy. So a lot should be done by the donors. They should have monitoring on this, monitoring on that. And anyone who fails to do it right, that his or her NGO or whatever should be closed, should shut down. If they can do it that way, then the society will be sanitized.
All right. So, sometimes when poverty alleviation programs are created, there's usually a target, of the numbers of people who should be able to have gained from it at the end of it. Do you think that these poverty alleviation programs that government has embarked upon have solved the problem of poverty? If you were to advise on how some of these poverty alleviation programs that reach out to the vulnerable, how do you think it should be done so that it could actually get to the people that it's meant for? And then the third leg of this question is the fact that some people who are vulnerable are also, they don't think, some don't have interests in, say for instance, a government is doing a skill acquisition program. You see a few of them, getting involved or wanting to even take themselves away from the situation that they have found themselves. Do you also think that that is a problem?
Let me answer your first question before I go to that. Let me shock you a bit. About 3 years ago or 4, one of the politicians who was sick was visited by myself and some of my colleagues. And while we were there, alerts came in. He smiled. He called one of us and said, "Oh, look, oh, I did my bed now. This alert is still the combo." We then asked him, "What alert?" He said it was initiated during good luck. How can a man like that be receiving such money? His name was included, that of his family were included. They were receiving 30,000 naira, made for the poor, made for the downtrodden, because they were in power. They decided to include their names to the list submitted during Jonathan's administration. I was shocked to my marrow. That was the day, even though I'm a politician, that was the day I detested some of the politicians in my state. Coming to the second question you asked, yes, some of them may not like to join because they are being used. They are being used. You can't tell me that you're helping me and so amount was given to you to give to me to solve my problem. Instead of you doing it in the right way, you decide to give me peanut. Then I will come and kill you under the sun. Have you seen them doing the empowerment? You will see those vulnerable people under the sun, under the rain. At the end of the day, nothing. Then the press will cover them. I spent so and so. I spent so and so. Oh my God. Who is fooling who? Human beings lack conscience. Somehow we are wicked to our fellow human beings. Mostly the downtrodden, the low-income earners, the disabled. My dear brother, if we keep on talking about this, I may start shedding tears because I have seen it and I have seen it. It is not good. So we don't need to blame them because on several occasions, they were there, but at the end of the day, they were being shortchanged. So you don't expect them to continue. The worst thing that will happen to anybody in this world is to hate yourself, is to, reject yourself when others have rejected you. No, you dare not do that. You move on.
Interesting. So does it mean that this community-based program by the government really doesn't work? Do you know of any empowerment program that has actually worked? And do you think it can be scaled nationally? Because I mean, if you look left, right, and center, if the governors are not doing something, the local governments are doing something, and then the federal government are also doing something, but then the vulnerable people keeps increasing,
complaining, increasing.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, because they are not the architect of their problems, are they? So why wouldn't they increase? We give birth every day, just as people die every day. So we are not going to portion blame on them that they are always on the increase side. What we should talk about is, what is being given to them by the government. Is it actually getting to them? What is it being given to them by the donors? Is it actually getting to them? Has it enhanced their problem? Or, when 1,000 is being given to them, then you decide to give them 1 kobo. What will the 1 kobo do for them in a situation, we are into now? Can 1 kobo do anything for you, solve any problem for you? Let's call a spade by its name. Those government placed there to look after these people, they are the problem and not the government. And if I were the government, the moment that list is being submitted to me, I will, screen it. Even if it takes me the whole month to do the investigation, to know if this actually that person deserves it, I will do it. You don't need to rush something because so many people normally queue in order to enrich themselves. You see them shining. We are the best weaver, best jewelry, best car, live in a very comfortable place. Yet that person they are supposed to represent, just dying out there, cannot even afford, a meal in a day. Government should do something. Donors should as well do something. If they are threatening, monitoring this, monitoring that, let there be people with conscience. I'm not saying, even in the house of the Lord, there are people that have no conscience, but there are people that fears God. If they can be able to get at those people to stand for those we are better off than, I believe there will be a lot of changes and the increase will reduce, I believe. They need to be occupied, they need to be equipped. But those people that we are giving those things to get to the vulnerable have failed to deliver. They have failed to deliver.
Again, it comes down to the vulnerable, right? I mean, like it or live it, the vulnerable has to also pick the pieces. If we have some of these programs that have refused to cascade towards them, they also have a responsibility to even try to engage the society or even to do whatever they can to, help themselves. Because even when the program comes, you would have to get these vulnerable people to tend to accept them. So I'm just thinking, is there a way you think that these are words now going to those who are vulnerable? Is there a way you think that sometimes also it's about mindset, setting the right mindset and doing things that can help your situation from where you are? Do you think that, they also have a responsibility, to themselves to a point? Because, I mean, if you look at all of the programs, I'm thinking through this from even way from 1995. The poverty alleviation programs that government upon government have done, by this time, for crying out loud, we wouldn't be here. But the numbers keeps increasing in terms of the vulnerability. But now, switching it a little bit, do you think that, there's a role that the vulnerable should also play in also helping themselves?
Yeah, a lot of roles. One, they should have a voice. As a journalist, maybe one of these days invite one of them to interview them, or few, at least two, a male and female. Then you hear from them. I'm not talking about those, that their brothers or sisters have just placed in a mansion. That's not the vulnerable I'm talking about. I'm talking about the vulnerable, the downtrodden. Interview them, and you hear from them. Hear from the horse's mouth. They should have a voice. And once in a while, we journalists, we should hear from them, because most of the time they are being cheated. They are being hurt down. Don't talk. If you talk, this will happen, that will happen. No. So by the time they have a voice, they will be able to explain things by themselves, the way they are being treated by the government, by the community or private sectors. Hearing from them, I believe, will help things to get better. So we need to hear from them. We need to interview them. by giving them that sense of, belonging. Let us hear from them. Let the society hear from them. We can't be defending them. Let them defend themselves. They need a voice to say it the way it is. Because most of the time you see them shedding tears. Most of the time they don't even have a place to, lay their head. Most of the time they can't even feed twice in a day. They can't even clothe themselves. And most of the time you see somebody that is able, using them to beg money. Then at the end of the day, they will go and count for that person. Peanuts will be given to him or her that did that exercise. So I think I suggest you invite them to your program, interview them, let's hear from them, and know where to start healing, the healing.
All right. Thank you so much, CHIKA Uju, for your time on the program this morning, speaking to the plight of the downtrodden and empowering the vulnerable groups out of Nigeria. I was also going to ask you, but just on the last line, if you know of any specific program that has succeeded with pulling people out of the vulnerability into being better for it. If you have anyone that will know anyone, whether it's local government, state, or even at the federal, do you know of anyone?
I don't know, because they're all mixtures. They're all mixtures. Calling journalists to come and cover them. It's
Wow.
don't put words into my mouth.
Wow. CHIKA Uju, many thanks. I appreciate you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right.
Have a
We're
nice
back
day.
shortly after this
Thank
break. Just stay with us.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.